Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I was, sorry. I'm confused about something. Hello and welcome to Hypnosis Hero, everybody. Want to let you know that we're just having some technical difficulties and we're trying to get those cleared up right now. I think that did it. And all right, so here we are, Hypnosis Hero. We got some extra special stuff today. As you know, if you're watching, you figured out that we have a brand new time and date, although that might be shifting. We might be shifting that again. I got to talk to the heroes about that because it turns out that today is a very busy day for Hypnosis podcast. Michael Brody has his Mindsight Hypnosis broadcast at, I believe, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then Dan Goyle goes on in the morning. So we may have to look at another day and time, or we may have a cage match. We don't know. We'll figure it out. So new stuff. So new time, Mondays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time for Hypnosis Hero. And that's, of course, 8:30 Eastern, and then God knows when in the UK and across the world. So, Hypnosis Hero, this is the show where we bring some of the world's greatest hypnotists to you. We interview them, we chat with them, and they do hypnosis. We might join them, maybe not. So tonight we have a hypnotherapist on. This guy is going to teach us his awesome self-hypnosis that he does. Sorry, my mind's a wreck because of all these technical issues. I'm going to let those go. I could use some of that self-hypnosis right now. That gentleman's name is Vinnie Brigance. We're going to bring him on in just a little bit. He's going to talk to us about organic hypnosis and what he does, and then we'll do some hypnosis later. Now, new thing, we kind of strayed away. We got away from the hypnosis part. We kind of had the interviews go too long, which was great because we got some really interesting people, as you all know. But then we missed out on the hypnosis part. So from now on, at 45 minutes in, no matter what, you're going to get some hypnosis. Now, it may be hypnotherapy type stuff. It may be fun with hypnosis. We don't know. We don't care. You will find out. We're also trying some new things, so stick around. We may be giving something away tonight. I don't know. I'm hoping to figure that out shortly. So please stay tuned. Tonight's going to be a really special episode, as they all are. If you're watching, please leave a comment over there. And in just a moment, the heroes will be answering those while I try to focus on you. All right. So later on in the show, this is our agenda. Going to bring the heroes on, your regular heroes. I mean, they're awesome heroes, but they're the regular ones. Then after that, about 10 minutes in, we're going to bring in Vinnie Brigance. He's going to tell us about his style of hypnosis and practice some. Before we get started on the hypnosis, we're going to play a brand new game on this show. It's called Friend or Frenemy. That's right, Friend or Frenemy. I played it on Exploring Awesome, the other podcast. I think it's more suitable for this one because me and the other heroes, we hate pineapple pizza. So we're going to find out if our guest can be our friend or frenemy. If he likes pineapple pizza, you know what that means. He's a frenemy. But with that, we're going to bring on Brian Bay. Brian, hello, sir. How are you?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Audience. I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure that out. All right, good job, Jim. We're hoping to get Shawn over into this section, this part of the booth, and so he can handle those kind of things because he is a tech wizard. Things are going well with me, Brian. So jump out of any airplanes this week?
No. Today was I think Mother Nature fell off her bandwagon of sobriety, and she's off her meds, just bipolar as all could be. I think we had a dusting of snow overnight. Then we had hail a couple times today. Some big fluffy dumping of snow, and then 20 minutes later, it all melted. Yeah, and the sun came out. So
it was terrifying for a moment, and then I was like, oh, I guess we're gonna be okay. No snow.
So Becca's trying to rain on your slightly delayed cheering noises, but no, Becca, what we have to do is convert from freedom units here in the States and go over to metric to get it overseas into the UK. But thank you for for joining us, as well as we got Carol is here and the amazing
Oh,
Cindini.
oh, fantastic. Carol just did a show, I think last night, maybe. Was that it, Carol?
Saturday night in Mexico,
Saturday night. Fantastic.
and I think she's
Um,
got some exciting news. If I recall her messages, she said that it went very, very well. So we are, of course, super thrilled for her. And
Super thrilled.
but
Carol, killing it. Killing it
I've
out there.
I've got a joke that I sent over to you. Kind of more of a question and answer. Uh,
Oh,
that meme that I sent you today, I can ask everybody, or if we should save that for our guest, or
I don't
are we
know.
obligated to run for a certain amount of time, family friendly, before we?
Yeah, I think let's just keep it all family friendly. How about we do that?
All right, sounds good.
Do 90 minutes of family friendly. You know, it helps us to stay on YouTube's good side and collect as many people as possible. Um, but if you would like Brian to send you that meme, please do drop a comment
I
below.
can just ask the question and give the answer, but
Eh, let's let's just steer clear. That's what I'm thinking of. Let's steer clear of it. Um, let's see here. Yeah, let's steer clear of that one, Brian. Let's stay family friendly, please. Thank you.
all
Talk
right.
about Shriners. What do the Shriners do for kids, Brian?
Oh, we do a lot of stuff, mainly
Uh,
medical care. I think one of my favorite stories is there was a little 16-month-old boy that got bit twice in the leg by a brown recluse spider down in
oh,
Monterey, Mexico.
good lord.
Um, and we basically were able to put him on a medevac flight to our burn center in Galveston, Texas. And with all that, wheels turned very, very quickly because we had a lot of support. And basically the outcome was docs were able to save his leg by about an hour, and a couple hours had we delayed, the child would not have lived. And so,
Wow.
we took paid for all the medical care. Child spent about another 4.5 months in the hospital, a couple of skin graft surgeries, things like that. And
Mm,
the family doesn't get a bill, so
nice.
it's always a great day to be a Shriner. And we're doing a lot of wonderful things. We had our Mardi Gras party Saturday night. I was behind the bar. I flogged plenty of livers with hurricanes and things like that. And we've got just a lot of stuff that's coming up on the calendar this year. So a lot of
Nice.
family interactions, music in the park, different events, brew festivals. We got our haunted house stuff that we
Yeah.
do every October. So just a ton of things that are going on. And Silent Messenger is coming.
Mm,
Uh, so we've got the front end of the temple kind of dug up, doing some re-landscaping, and that should be ready to go probably in the next few weeks.
nice. Very nice.
So a lot of moving parts.
Brian, maybe sometime you will actually wear your fez on the show. Is that legal? Is that allowed? I don't know.
I'd have to check. Like I've got my shrine shirt
Yeah.
on.
All right.
Is I'll check the bylaws and everything. Make sure I'm doing everything correctly and representing the shrine. But like I
Sure.
said, we want to always be doing the right things.
Doing the right things. Excellent. Excellent. Remember, if you want that meme, the non-family friendly meme, please do drop a comment. Brian will personally send it to you. It's pretty funny, but it's not family friendly. All right.
It
So,
asks a question about pineapple, or about people who eat pineapple on their pizza.
who asked about it?
No, I said I will say that
Oh, yes.
the meme makes an inquiry.
You know what? That's exactly right. That is exactly right, Brian.
Actually, Shawn, I
Um,
just messaged it over to you. So if you have people that you want to send that out to, go right ahead.
and oh yes, it's something else turned out well. Shawn, you will be getting some links, but don't post these until after we figure this this other part out. So before we move on, bring on the man, the myth, the legend. And when I say that, that's an often used kind of a thing, but I gotta say, Shawn really is the legend. If you were at the Pacific, or if you were at the PHS Performing Hypnosis Summit, that guy is indispensable.
Oh,
and
he waved
could
his
not have done that thing
magical
without him. But anyway,
he waved the magical pixie dust and the ones and zeros over everything to just make it work.
he did. Yes. We don't know what kind of magic Shawn possesses, what kind of a deal he may have made with entities outside of this world, but whatever he did, boom, really just nailed it on so many fronts. You talked about, so here was something. So something happened yesterday, and I want to talk about this because, as Brian said, we had some weird weather over here. We had a lot of wind yesterday. I think that's why it was.
Yeah.
The wind blew the snow into us and then threw it away. And I live in Shoreline, Washington, and one of the great things about living here in the Northwest is we have lots and lots of trees. The problem with lots and lots of trees is when the wind blows, a lot of those trees fall down and they take out electrical type stuff. So the problem is, I came home and as I was walking in the door, my neighbor hollers over and says, "By the way, the power's out." Oh my goodness! Now, being a chucklehead, I hadn't been charging my phone in the car like I usually do, and so I was down to like 25%, and I was going, "Oh man, what if that power?" I mean, does anybody remember what it was like back in the olden days when the power went out and you didn't have a phone? It was horrible. Um,
Jim, you would have had a lot of quiet. Nobody to call you and bother you.
well, there is that part. Um, okay, there it is. But thankfully, Brian, boom, right here. This little bad boy right here, Turbo Amp. Ta-da! You can go find it on my Amazon page. Shawn's sharing the link down there. Where's it at? God dang it. Well, it's not showing up because I got my virtual background on. I have to get in front of it. Right there. So it's this. The great thing about this one is it's very small. Let's turn off the background. Let's hope there's nothing really too ugly in the background here. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm leaving a lot of this alone, Jim, because
Good man.
we're friends.
Okay.
As you can see, it's very small. The thing disappears.
Blurred background. Maybe that's better. Ah, there it is. So it's very small, slides right into your pocket, and it's got the attachments for everything. So it's got the old kind of attachment. I don't remember what they called them. It's got the new USB, and for us iPhone users, bam, it's got that right there. So I love this. Thank God I had it, because I got to tell you, man, I was kind of stressing. Well, here's the thing, Brian. I was looking forward to watching a movie. I was like, I'm going to come home. I never do that. I was going to watch a movie, and then luckily the day was saved. All right.
Divine intervention.
Divine intervention. And then it was only out for a couple hours, so it wasn't a huge panic situation. All right, I've mumbled, babbled enough. We're already 20 minutes into this show, and we don't even have the man on. Shawn Captain Kostiuk, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. Weird and wild weather. I was telling Jim and Brian that unfortunately right after this I need to go outside where it's minus 35, minus 40 something with the wind chill, and move some snow out of the way because more is expected. It is what we call an Alberta clipper. I blame Alberta squarely for it because this is Saskatchewan after all. Anyway, is what it is. Life goes on.
Amazon Clipper.
No, Alberta.
Alberta Clipper.
Yep.
What does that mean exactly?
It means really bad weather coming really fast. Basically comes straight down the mountain and all the way across the prairies. And, the way that it's able to travel and the speed it's able to travel, that snow that you had this morning could very well be the snow that I'm getting right now.
Wow.
And then some. So
that makes sense with all that wind that was blowing, as I talked about earlier. Shawn, always good to see you. Captain, we're going to refer to him as Captain from now on. He is the captain. He is a support man. He is the guy in the background making things really work properly. So, I mean, just think. I mean, things are a little rocky right now. Just think if he wasn't here. Crazy. All right. Cool.
I just did the calculations on the Google, and
minus 40 and minus 40 are the same.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, minus 35 degrees. I figured that was Celsius, and then that's negative 31 in freedom degrees, which is cold.
Cold.
Very
cold.
By the power of maple syrup, may you survive. This is.
Maybe I'll have some after I get in the house.
All right. Well, all right.
Oh,
I think Vinny's seen the meme.
I know he has.
I can't wait to play friend or frenemy with this guy. I think so I'm going to be going up to
well, Jim,
Canada in a couple of weeks.
Based on the meme, it might be a little of both.
Remember to drop a comment if you want to see the famous meme. I'm going to be going up to Canada, but I'm going to get a big lungful of freedom before I head over across the border, just so I can feel the power of freedom.
Blow it.
Where are you landing in Canada?
The opposite side, Shawn. I'll be in Victoria, Canada. One of the most beautiful cities in the world, I think, that I've been to. I haven't been to all of them.
It's probably a little warmer there than it is here.
Yeah, I'm hoping it better be. All right, Shawn, we're going to send you to the. No, you can stick around. What the hell? Let Shawn stick around. He can still work from there. Is that all right, everybody? Yeah, chime in. Is it all right to see Shawn? Keep him around. All right.
Somebody's got to be the pretty face here, Jim.
That's right. We're gonna keep him out of the basement. Speaking of pretty faces, I
are not one of them.
Was at the Michigan conference again this last year, and met a lot of cool people. One of those cool people, instantly, just knew the guy was a solid guy. We've been kind of communicating on Facebook and stuff, sharing, memes, things like that, or commenting on memes as you do. Got a chance to actually talk to him. So he is a certified hypnotherapist. He specializes in helping his clients permanently quit smoking without cravings. Without cravings, people. His passion is for helping people to quit stems from his mother's struggle with COPD and emphysema. I can relate, my friend. I can relate, which led to her passing in 2018. After graduating from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, with a degree in political science, he discovered the positive change. The positive change that hypnosis can make, and opened his own practice. He's worked with hundreds of clients since then. He's also created Advanced Organic Hypnosis, a hypnotherapy course that helps you to help clients create one-session breakthroughs with their clients. With that, everyone, please welcome to the show, Mr. Vinnie Brigance. Vinnie Brigance, welcome to the show, sir.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me on.
Welcome. Good to see you.
Cool stuff. Excuse me. It's easy to, how it's easy to like be fake on social media. Just 1 second here. Elon Musk, call back with a real offer.
Yeah.
We got business to do here. Okay.
That's right. We've got business. Sorry, Elon. Go land on a planet or something. Vinny, I got to apologize. I couldn't find the cheering music. I'm so disappointed in myself.
That's okay.
Oh God, Shawn, what's going on over here? I don't even know.
Sounds like I'm going to be Jim this 2.0 next week.
Definitely.
I love it.
Vinny, thank you so much. I remember we were hanging out, we chatted, had a great time talking with you. I know you're very popular with a lot of hypnotists. Very popular on TikTok as well. You like the TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok's been huge. A lot of folks say you can't book clients on there. I can show you like screenshots. I've gotten 170 leads in a day off TikTok. I've gotten more leads than what I can possibly. I had to come up with ways to be able to communicate with people quicker. That's how bad it's been. I don't think the platform matters as much as like showing people you care consistently, like letting them know you're there to support them. You're not just a paycheck. I think that makes a huge difference. And so I just kind of focus my content around showing them I care, helping them get experiences, learn things. TikTok's been beautiful for that. Really incredible stuff.
Would you say it's your main platform then?
Yeah, I think for acquiring new students, it's been Facebook. That's been huge. And networking with other trainers, that's been really big.
Yeah.
And then for client acquisition, it's been primarily TikTok and referrals. when I started, it was such a grind, but now we're in year 4, and it's like I get 5, 6, 7 referrals a week now. It's awesome, but put a lot of work in on the front end to make that happen. So that's where my lead flow is coming from.
Of course. Yeah. So it sounds like so we have a similar story with moms, I guess, that passed away due to smoking. Tell us a little bit more about that, Vinnie.
Yeah, so it was a little while. So she's 53 and a half years of age. Well, that's when she passed away. A while before that, started getting sicker and sicker, and I saw things going wrong. You could kind of read the writing on the wall, like having to walk to the kitchen and then sit down to catch her breath. Like, this isn't going to go well. So I get the call. She's in the hospital, deep, the tubes down her throat, keeping her alive. And I watched her really struggle with this thing. And I have to say the hospital did an absolutely fabulous job helping her get a second chance at this.
Yeah.
But 6 months later, she went back to smoking. And I was a bit perplexed by that. Whereas my father smoked 4 packs a day for years, saw what happened to her, made a different decision. And I thought, well, how could you have these two completely different outcomes, same substance? Yes, people are different and all that. But I think that really, I don't want to say that intrigued me, but it kind of stuck in my mind. Yeah. And then at some point, I just decided, like, I'm going to make a difference in this area in people's lives. Started doing research, found out hypnosis is a fabulous modality. I think it's the most effective modality on the planet at helping people quick. I don't even think it's close, Jim.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
When you look at the comparison studies. So I just dove in, right? Drove out to Hypnothoughts, met all you cool people, made friends. And you've all been just an absolutely fantastic community when it comes to support. The starting a business is not easy, right? Turns out there's a lot that goes into that. Right. I had no idea I was going to be wearing a million hats all the time. That's part of the deal.
Right.
Like head of sales, HR, marketing. So that's sort of the short story, I guess.
That's the frustrating part. You think, wow, I get to do hypnosis. I get to just work on clients all day or go do shows all the time. And that's kind of the small part of the day, really. That's everything else. It's like, it's too much.
A lot going on.
Yeah. A lot going on. But so when did you've been doing hypnosis since, for a few years.
Yep.
And something clicked, and you said, because this was something you came up with, this organic hypnosis. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a combination of modalities that I learned from others. You're always standing on the shoulders of the giants in our community. So I have to be careful here. So I train with all these fabulous people, and I think your best trainers are going to be experienced with clients, right?
Oh yeah.
They're doing the best they can to show you all the techniques and the ways to use these techniques. But until you get in front of a client, it's like there's all these micro learnings that happen. So I would get frustrated in certain scenarios. And I remember one time I had this fabulous woman. She saved up for 3 months to book a session with me because my fee's kind of high. And I thought, well, this is just incredible. Usually people say they're going to do that and they don't, right? They're like, yeah, I'll hit you up in a couple months when I have the money. She actually did it. She booked time on my calendar. And I went in there flying, Jim, absolutely flying. And we got a drawing winner. I don't want to interrupt this.
Uh-oh. Nope. That was
me.
Sorry.
Let me summarize this a little quicker. So,
sorry. That was my mistake.
No problem. No, I'm back on track. I got it. It's so I sat there a bit perplexed though, because I happened to contact her the next day. It felt like something was up. Reached out to her. She said, Vin, I'm really struggling here. And I thought, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. This lady makes like $15 an hour. She's been saving for months, right? She's got kids. So I hop on with her and I just threw everything I learned, not out the window, but I just allow it to go to the background. And I just really paid attention to her. I just really got curious about what she was experiencing. And my God, Jim, if she didn't just slip into trance constantly when I was doing that, there was no technique, no language pattern. I just was like, this isn't working. It blew my mind to watch her figure this out on her own. It had nothing to do with smoking, Jim. Everything was about this. I don't want to go into too many details. She's watching, but it was a lot of stuff with family. I guess I'll sum it up that way. And then now she's running marathons, raising money for like St. Jude's and children's hospitals. And you go from something that was destroying her. Now she's using her respiratory system to help children have a second chance at life. I think that's incredible. So the impact's multidimensional. So it was out of that need, though, to figure this stuff out. Sorry, long-winded today.
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I do want everybody to know that we are doing we're doing a raffle today based on comments. We hope it works out, and we're not responsible for broken raffle systems. We have a couple things up for grabs. We're going to start giving away some cool stuff. So the more you comment, the more chances you have. We will do that raffle drawing in about 15 minutes, right before we start the hypnosis. And I'm sorry that jumped up. I was, I don't know how it works. It just sort of does things. It's a new feature on the platform. So typically, what's a stop smoking session look like for you? Is that a one session? Is that two sessions?
Yeah. I've helped somebody quit smoking in 19 minutes once. That was really cool.
Wow.
But sometimes it's multiple sessions. I kind of stopped caring about that, because when I would think about sessions or duration, it's almost like I was putting an unnecessary level of pressure on myself to help somebody get a result. I really can't predict it on the front end. I can say on average, we're talking about one session, maybe two.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But this is years of experience. I've helped over 600 people quit now. Yeah. When I started, it certainly wasn't like that. It's this is a learning curve thing. And I focus primarily on one problem too. So I think that helped me really dig into the nitty gritty of how folks with this issue tend to think about things. So I've been able to speak a little bit more exact to their experience. It's been really helpful. Yeah. And then I have, of course, seen my folks do this for years. Was, I think, another source of leverage I was able to use at times.
Yeah. So I've got kind of a follow-up question for that, Vinnie. Is another reason that you don't focus on the number of sessions or kind of steer clients away from that is because you get the people who they're so used to failure in their life that they're now looking for an excuse to go, hey, I tried and this doesn't work, so that I can go and tell everybody, ha, ha, ha.
Yep.
And then the second part is, what's the benchmark that you use to actually say, I got somebody to quit smoking?
Yeah. Those are brilliant questions. So the first thing is 100% spot on. I tell them, and talk about a mic drop moment in a session. You look at these folks and you say, I can't quit smoking for you. And they're like, and you see that adrenaline dump. You see them coming to very quickly. They know it's not about you doing something to them, right? There's a commitment piece to this. There's an effort piece to this. And the reality is, like, my answers aren't going to be the answers they need. The answers are inside them. So how long it takes to get there, we're not going to know on the front end. But for me, it was primarily when I got away from session or duration, it just freed me up to be able to focus more on the unconscious communication my client is constantly presenting. But if I started thinking about, is this session going well? Am I going to be able to help this person? If I started having that creep into the back of my mind, I can't see any of this stuff, right? I'm just as blind as they are at that point.
I love the honesty.
What were we saying, Jim?
I'm sorry. I just want to say, I love the honesty there.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I tried leaning on more like expectation and a lot of those more, I think, like traditional ideas. And I had some success with that. This is just what works best for me. It's like, let's lay our cards on the table. I want to take away all my weapons. You take away all yours. Let's really look at this thing and come to grips with what's happening here. So I could go on for that forever, Brian. But your second question about benchmarks for me is if they quit smoking. So I'll work with someone for up to a year. I charge $997. I'll see them up to 4 times in a year. And typically we never reach that, though. That's a very rare situation at this point. But I am positioning this in a different way, though. They know this is their job. I'm here to support them and help them.
Because pretty much your job, and my understanding of, if people ask me about like what's a therapeutic type thing, whether it's anxiety, whatnot, it's that you're utilizing hypnosis to alter someone's response to a certain stimulus. If they have their habits going, I get up out of bed and I need to go smoke a cigarette, and then I have something to eat and I have my coffee and I have a cigarette. And then when you look at, your cost is high. Okay, your cost is high, but what's the value? Yeah. Are you looking for value for money or just the cheapest, fastest way to go about it? And I would ask them, what does a carton of cigarettes cost? And how quickly are you going through that? And by quitting smoking, by making that investment, how quickly are you going to recoup that and then begin to save? And if you find it, a monetary thing, or if it's their health, how many years do you want to not shave off your life?
Right.
And
money piece is huge. Some people really aren't motivated by it, but I gotta say, people that aren't motivated by money are happy to pay me $1,000 to help them quit. And I think you're spot on. You can explain that away pretty quickly. You put that money in the market over a 30-year period, you'll have more money than you know what to do with. Your kids will have more money than you know what to do with. It's like money is not. I won't even accept that as an excuse with folks typically, right? They're going to take so much cash. It's like,
well, you can almost take, and I learned this in the military, especially like with your lower enlisted folks. There will always be money for cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and alcohol and coffee.
Coffee.
And it's even the same thing with kind of like your lower echelon of, society. Is there's always money to go down to the liquor store and grab, something to drink. But then there are always the people who are like, hey, can I borrow $10 here or $5 there? I got to hit the bar. And they're feeding that addiction. And it's like, look, transition that into something that's more productive.
Yeah.
Do you not want to stink when you're around your girlfriend?
This is true.
They don't realize it. They don't realize they stink. That's the thing. When I was a smoker, I didn't realize it until after I quit. And then I was like, oh my God, it's awful. If you're a smoker, I tell you right now, everyone around you is disgusted. I'm sorry.
I mean, and just simple things like, hey, food tastes like food again.
Yeah. And then what I find is like, there's all these other deeper emotional, self-reflective, like baggage they're carrying around. Like they look in the mirror and they hate themselves because they have this problem and they want to get rid of it so bad they feel powerless, right?
Yeah.
Like you change this one area in people's lives, they will tell you, I feel like I can do anything after I did that. Because it was just, they've been doing this 20 times a day. I don't know what I do 20 times a day. Like breathe, way more than that, right? But like that's a high frequency habit. So the time they say, what is it, like 25 days a year when people quit smoking a pack a day, they get all that time back. And that's not including the time to go out to, I got to go out to smoke to get away from everybody. You're right, Brian. There's so many reasons people have, there's so many incentives, but then they're still stuck, right? It's not really a logical problem.
Yeah. Well, they're stuck because they've never had a victory other than, see, I told you so. This is why something didn't work.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
We rob them of that.
And partners, right away. And partners are oftentimes, they're so disgusted and disappointed. They'll be like, well, you're smoking again. Instead of being compassionate about it, it's like, well, you're a loser. You broke your promise. You promised you weren't going to smoke anymore. Not realizing it's more difficult than just making that promise.
Right. They wind up smoking more when you
oh, totally.
Use the bad word there. When you anger them, there we go. Yeah. Family friendly.
No
more pineapple pizza memes, please.
And that's kind of what's that balance? Who's somebody who's used to just being coddled, and when you try to, I get it. There's a time for understanding and things like that, but when you have somebody who goes, I have a problem, I want some help, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm here to help you.
Right.
But you also need good people who are going to help you to say, I love you enough to put a boot in your ass.
Yeah.
When you need that kick in the ass to bring you back to reality, instead of someone just going, all right, here, you know what, you're my crutch person that I can just, bring all my problems to. And that gives, that reaffirms my value in terms of, well, if you'll sit here and listen to the same BS that I've been laying on you time after time after time, and nothing changes, well, then I'm important enough to do that. And I will continue to do that as long as it gets me some sort of positive attention that I like. But when someone goes, hey, you stink, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. Like, wash your clothes, stop smoking.
Well, Brian,
You
I think you have a very you have an approach that is a very tough love, but I just don't know if it's realistic. I think because I think what happens is when you tell that person, I mean, just stress them out more, right? I mean, and we're not. I'm not talking about. Yeah, of course there are people that they, and this comes from personal experience. I remember,
well, yeah.
like
My point was that what's that balance to
yeah,
go?
yeah. What is
Okay,
it? Yeah.
the caring and compassion and the understanding versus like,
Yeah.
all right, tact and diplomacy has failed.
Sure.
Now we need someone to be a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
I think it's a good
Yeah,
question.
at that point though, would that be the end of the client hypnotist relationship? Because people will push back against that.
Yeah, I think you'll make a lot of good points, and a lot of times when people start smoking, sometimes there's this air of rebelliousness about it. They're actually it was a way to assert their independence against authority. I hate to sound theoretical. These are just things I've noticed from helping people. So sometimes when if I were to take a more firm approach, I would get some resistance. But I'll show you something. I actually learned this from Dan Candell, and I adapted it. So a lot of times you just ask people, what happens when you say to yourself, I have to quit smoking. I need to quit smoking. What comes up for you? I'll ask them this question on a live video. There's actually a video up of me doing this on YouTube and booking a bunch of strategy calls if anybody wants to watch it.
Can you find that, Shawn?
So have to quit, need to quit, etc. They'll say, I feel panic, I feel fear, all these things. So what happens when you say I choose to quit? And they'll go, oh yeah, that feels a little better. What happens when you say, you know what? It's not so much that I never get to smoke again as long as I live. It's that I get to be free of it. I never have to smoke another day in my life. What happens when you say that? And I don't use a lot of language about it. This is more like marketing, getting people into calls and stuff. In a session, it's all organic. I'm not opposed to using that stuff, though. Whatever's going to make your clients happy, do that, right? Who am I to judge? It's none of my business, right? Your clients are the people that you need to help and serve. But when I do that, it kind of leads them away around, I think, that resistance, right? That piece where they're fighting with you and like, no, I can get to quit. That's pretty cool. I never thought about it like that. And a lot of times that'll give them just that little bit of insight to book the call for me.
Kind of like it's not a good idea until it's the boss's idea.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Make it what they want. How can you make it what they want? Is sort of the thing. But you're right, Brian. Sometimes you would like to be more direct. I have not had success with that approach, me personally.
So Brian, that can be you can be the direct guy. You can
send him to Brian.
Well, that was why I was asking. It was where is that time where you get to draw the line? And I remember having Dan Hedrick on, where he was the stop smoking man, drove the big box truck around and had great success with that. He would have people come into his storefront, into his office, and he would be like, all right, you ready to get going and stop smoking? All right. Oh yeah, of course. I'll tell them what they want to hear. All right, cool. Give me your purse. And he'd root around there. All right, taking these packs of cigarettes out. All right, now we're going out to your car. Open the glove box, open the center console and everything. You take those packs and those packs and these packs. And it's like, and they get upset with him. And you go, I can give these back to you, but we're done.
Yeah.
If you're ready to quit smoking, like, we can reschedule. And where are your priorities at? Because if you're leaving all this temptation and stuff around, or as your safety net or your fallback, you're going to try. Yeah. That means you're likely to fail. If you're like, I will try something to see if I like it.
Right.
But I'm not going to go and order the whole meal.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. If you look at some of my testimonials, I think that's cool. I think it's cool walking them through that and having them. It's almost like they get a chance to experience the level of commitment it's going to take. Like, this is what we're actually talking about. Here's the actual game, right?
And I pose the question as to get your thoughts on it, not to try to influence or sway or saying you should do it a certain way. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. When I'm working with people, I think it's a different approach there. I forgot what I was going to say. So I think that's cool. We were talking about how he leads them down the path of commitment that way. If you look at some of my testimonials, though, people will say, yeah, I smoked right after the session and I couldn't stand the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just needed to be stubbed out. And I know a lot of the way we think about it, it's like, oh, the cigarette, keep the cigarette away. And I don't think smoking's the real problem. I think there's just something going on inside that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I get very curious about what that might be. I just want to explore and discover that with them. And then it's like the cigarette, it's just like they just can't be bothered with it anymore. It's like, get this away from me. But I would say it's always smart to do those things, Brian. Like there's no reason to make it harder on yourself than it needs to be. You don't need to like prove to yourself that you quit. You can just quit, right? This is a conversation that might come up with them. Like,
sure.
Like don't keep them around and be like, did I really quit? Well, if I can avoid smoking it, then I know I quit. A lot of times that's what's going on there. And it's like, we can just make a decision that you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like people say, even like, so I help people quit smoking without cravings. If they have cravings, I go, well, quit with cravings. Like what happens when you think about doing that?
Ooh, love that.
And they're like,
that. Yeah.
Oh, I can just quit with cravings and the cravings go away. It's stupid. The mind's weird. I don't know. It's weird.
That's a really, I gotta say, that's a really great approach, because I do find, a lot of times smokers are like, well, what if I get a craving? And it's like, well, what if you do? I get cravings for cake sometimes. I don't necessarily eat it every time, right? I mean, I get cravings for, lots of things in life, that I say no to. So
I get cravings for copious amounts of bacon. And exactly. Bacon is okay.
Or pineapple pizza memes, so there's a lot of things that we crave in life, and I think that idea that we have to
Jim, never use I have cravings and that pineapple pizza meme in that same sentence, right? Exactly. People are going to get ideas.
I'd like to say too, Brian, one of the things that I have found, so number one, you got to have a lot of rapport with the client to be able to do that kind of thing, like what you're talking about. And Dan's a funny guy. He's very engaging. I can see where he can pull that off. I don't know if everyone can, but the other thing is I've had clients that will walk around with cigarettes with them because they feel more comforted knowing that if they ever need one, they've got it. So I think you have to, there's different approaches to it, and kind of figuring out which one's going to work for them is that's the way I've kind of always done it. And I may not have the success rate as Dan. I don't know what his success rate is. Mine's pretty high, but there's different approaches, definitely.
Right. Yeah. How I measure success. That was another thing you asked, Brian. I don't want to forget to answer that, but I think, Jim, that flexibility is huge, because like I've had people write on a little piece of paper, like maybe get a little picture of their grandkids.
That's good.
And put that in the film of the cigarette box.
Yeah.
And write not anything about smoking, all the reasons that they love that kid. Yeah. All the things they look forward to seeing happen to that kid as they grow up, all the ways they want to be there for him. Right. And so it's like, I got to smoke. Oh, good God. Right. And so it just destroys the thing. It just destroys it for them, because now they've got it right there, and it's the beautiful picture, and it's the, so I think flexibility like that is great. I think, I like to think about it more like that. Like every client's different. Milton Erickson said this thing about the best therapy you do is the one you've never done before and you'll never do again with that person. I think there's something to that. I know he's kind of a controversial fellow in some circles.
That makes some
sense.
I
try to learn from everybody.
I want to say, Brian, real quick, Brian. I just want to say something too. I think it depends a lot on your personality. You're going to attract the clients that are best for you. And if you want to have that kind of a drill sergeant approach, I think there are people that will really resonate with you, because I've had clients, especially weight loss ones, which were like, just tell me what to eat. And I'm like, no, you really need to tell me what to eat. I can see you going, okay, this is what you're going to eat. This is what you're going to do. And taking that kind of approach, and you're gonna have success with those clients. So,
and I think there's the first time that I tried hypnosis that really kind of led to, me having that one day where I was like, I'm just done with everything. I'm done with work. I'm going to clear my schedule, and that's the night that you and I met, Jim.
Yeah,
and because the first time that I tried hypnosis. I'm not knocking the lady. She just was not right for me.
Wasn't the right fit.
So my kind of ADD squirrel mind, it's like, okay, I needed this, go point A, point B, point C, kind of very militant. And she was like, well, imagine a place that, you feel happy and relaxed. And I'm like, well, God, that's anywhere from the ocean to the, snowboarding in the mountains, hockey rink, to all these different things.
Yeah.
And it just went nuts. But last question for you. How do you help your clients overcome like the chemical, like detox with the nicotine and stuff?
Yeah.
Because I know we're having to jump into the actual hypnosis portion.
Yeah. I'm not really concerned with that. Like, take vitamins, drink water, but I got to be really careful not to prescribe too many things. Typically during the testing phase, I'm rigorously doing everything I can to make that person smoke again. It's brutal, folks.
Wow.
Like,
Interesting approach. I love that.
I have
Really?
no interest in like getting a call tomorrow that that they're having a problem. Like, I want, so I'll hypothetical testing. What if somebody kidnapped you and you could never see your family again unless you smoke a cigarette? Would you smoke? That sounds absurd, doesn't it? Of course they'd smoke, right? I would smoke in that case,
Uh-huh.
But the reality is, it's a bit abstract and hypothetical, but the reality is someone that isn't done smoking will come up with any excuse to keep smoking.
It's true.
Something bad happened, they stubbed their toe, something actually bad happened, like they lost a loved one. None of these things have anything to do with them. So I want to see what comes up for them. It's not about them giving me the answer I want. It's about what comes up for them and what do we have to do with that. So I'm more approaching it that way, Brian. A lot of that info is kind of out there, and most of the people that I see have been thinking about quitting smoking 10, 15 years, right? They maybe even been to other hypnotherapists. So it's like they have a lot of that data, but I really don't do a ton to support them in that part.
So it sounds
bad,
like it sounds like you're taking all of their reasons that they're trying to find to fail, and you're helping them find all the reasons to succeed.
Yeah, that becomes kind of the framework for the session. It's like, because that's the problem I want to help them solve. I can make them feel good and put them in a nice trance, and that's just so therapeutic. I love that stuff personally. But for me, it was more like, let's break this thing down. Let's tear this thing apart. And I know they have it within them to quit. So many people quit, 1.2, 1.3 million people every year. It's easy, just in the States alone. So I don't know. Not much on the chemical piece there.
Okay. I guess it was more the physical withdrawal symptoms that people get. But yeah. So I guess it's time to move more into the hypnosis portion.
Sweet. This is gonna be so fun. I just need any volunteer. Does anybody here want to do this? Come on.
Hey, we can do that. Let's do that. Let's find out. Hey, if you're out there, if you'd like to jump on live with us, we'll give you you got about 2 minutes to maybe a minute to decide. While you're deciding if you're going to jump on with us, Shawn's going to share the link, or maybe Brian will. And I'm sorry we had to cut that part short. I'm trying to, maybe we'll play around with that, but I do want people to know when the hypnosis is going to start, so they know what to expect. So I feel like we could talk to, just like everybody, we could talk to Vinnie all night. After the hypnosis, if you have questions, we're going to take questions. So please come up with your questions for Vinnie. We're going to answer those questions. So please do that. We will do the raffle at the end. I think we're going to switch that. We're going to start doing it at the end. And tonight we have a couple of, we're giving away a T-shirt from the new crap store. That's a citizen.
Did I hear the crap store?
Crap store. That's Citizens Resisting the Advancement of Pineapple Pizza.
Wow.
So, a brand new organization, and we're just unveiling it tonight. It's the crap store. So we are happy to announce that. I'm sorry to shift into kind of a funny thing, but
I love it.
I'm going to go ahead and show you what's up for grabs. Now I do, and yes, Becca, if you win, I will ship it to the UK. So here's what we're going to do at the end of the show. Whoever has the most comments will be drawn, and you will win. This is what you're going to win. And we're still waiting for somebody to join. If you want to join, you can do that. So here is what you're going to win. Hold on. Chrome tab. It's brand new. People have been telling me for years to come up with some merch for this. Can you all see that?
I can't see it on my.
You'd have to share your screen.
I have to share my screen. Hold on.
Or at least the window, so we don't see the rest of your browser history.
Yeah, we don't want to see that pineapple pizza meme, do we? All right.
It doesn't matter to me because I've already.
Now, it might be tough to see, but what it says there is, I love pineapple pizza because I have the taste buds of a junkyard dog. That's right.
Incredible.
So you can win this beautiful prize. Can you see this one now, the man t-shirt? You see that? Good. All right. You will win that at the end of the show. We have men's and women's styles. And if you want them, Shawn's going to drop the link if you'd like to purchase one if you don't win. Let's see where we at. All right. And with that, let's stop sharing. It'll be a lot easier when Shawn takes over this stuff over here. When he takes command and just throws me in the back. So did anybody jump in there to volunteer? Anybody?
I'm gonna try to grab the link, and we can post it at least in Facebook.
I've got the link. I'm just waiting for somebody to say they're volunteering.
Yeah, and I'll real quick, just this is something I taught once, and I was kind of blown away. A fellow, typically it was 6 to 8 sessions to help clients. I almost feel like weird saying this. He said he dropped from 6 to 8 to 1 to 2. And this is a really simple method. It's really geared towards helping you get in touch with your own internal communication, your own unconscious communication. And it just naturally makes it easier to see that with clients as we have more familiarity with it, with ourselves. And you get insights during sessions with people. I'm sure you will have this, where something will just dawn on you in a session. It's like, ask this question, or like I'll know minutes before someone's going to regress that the session's heading in that way now. I don't know why. It's just an interesting thing. I think seeing a lot of people and learning to listen to that. So it's more an opportunity to develop that skill, and then you can use it for goal setting and all the really cool things that we already know. Henry Ford, from the state of Michigan. Henry Ford practiced self-hypnosis every day. And that's a guy that was not into wasting resources, right? He came up with mass production and all that. So he probably wouldn't have did it if it was dumb.
Right? I believe Edison did too, Beethoven. There's like a lot of anecdotal stories. I mean, they didn't call it self-hypnosis, but it's to put a coin in your hand and then sit in a chair, and when it falls into the tin plate, wakes you up.
Pretty cool.
So a lot of them have done that. They didn't call it self-hypnosis, but yeah. All right, we're going to get started with the self-hypnosis again. We're going to do a raffle. It's going to be great. The more you comment, the better your chances, but it's still random. So,
yep.
Vinnie, Brian, do you want to be the volunteer?
Simple stuff.
Me too. I don't smoke.
No, he's doing a self-hypnosis for one of your other ails, one of those other things that you have that ails you, like, the one.
Don't you say it. That was confidential, Jim.
It's the memes. It's the meme sharing.
Meme sharing.
No, of course we would want me to keep sharing memes. Like, that's what makes it funny.
Well, let me ask it this way. Is there anything anybody wants to work on? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It'd be like, hey, I wish I would just be a little bit more consistent here.
I'll do it. I'll be the volunteer.
Cool. Oh, this will be fun. Oh, no way. I get to work with Jim Kellner. This is cool.
Woohoo.
I love it.
Dream come true for all of us.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
I don't mind volunteering, but can't really talk. Yeah.
You don't have to talk.
Yeah. Just hang out. You
can type you can
stuff in the chat. People want to follow along, type in the chat as we do this.
And everybody at home, you can actually follow along. You will get hypnotized as well. So go ahead and give that a shot.
Actually, before we get started, if you're going to participate in this as a subject, get comfortable. Make sure you're not driving. Get out of range of furniture or stuff like that. Put something where you can be safe and actually go completely unconscious if you need to without causing injury.
And
I'm not sure about Jim or Shawn, but I am not responsible for any stuff other than good things that come out of this.
Exactly. Yeah. And if anything should go wrong, my name's Mike Mandel. I'm with the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. Send your summons there.
Sure. Blame it on the Canadians.
Yes.
How typical. I said last night in the mastermind group that I'm part of, I said, we'll be nice to your face because we know there's a good chance you guys are armed. We're not the nice ones in the relationship. You should see what we say about you guys when we're behind our own borders.
Funny. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. Can't wait to see Mike how he gets me after that one. Oh,
He's going to file a formal complaint that he's Canadian.
Oh, man. He's a clever dude.
It's okay, Vinny. We've got freedom of speech down here. So
right.
while it lasts.
That's good. I like it. Oh boy. Okay, so just to kind of clear us out, let's just take a deep breath in, exhale slowly. And exhale slowly. There we go. So really simple stuff. Jim, you have a goal in mind or something you want to work on.
Yeah.
What happens when you think about that goal right now?
I panic a little bit.
Yeah. See. Now, just for purposes of explanation, now, presumably Jim didn't consciously make himself want to panic when he thought about that thing. I don't even know what it is. I don't have to know. Presumably that came from something called the unconscious mind, right? Because you didn't consciously decide to do it. You don't stub your toe and go, hey, toe, you better start hurting. I just stubbed you. It happens, right? So it's an interesting thing to be aware of. Okay, Jim. So go ahead and just, as you're breathing naturally there, just scan your body from the top of your head down to your toes. And as you think about that thing you want to do, where do you notice that panicky feeling the strongest in your body? Presumably
My throat.
Yeah, right in your throat. Yeah, right in your throat. Cool. So let's just do about 20 seconds here. All I want you to do, Jim, is feel that feeling in your throat, that panicky feeling. I don't want you to try to do anything to it. I just want you to experience it for a moment. Don't judge it. I'll go ahead now. Just take your time.
What am I supposed to do again?
Really simple. Yeah. Yep. So I just found my timer.
No,
so for about 20 seconds here, all I'm going to have you do is just focus on that sensation in your throat.
Okay.
That panicky sensation, and just notice it. I don't want you to do anything to it. Just experience it fully. All right. I'm going to start the timer now. All right. Jim, as you just sat with that for 20 seconds or so, what did you notice?
Well, the more I think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing. You're putting your attention on this thing and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So now let's do that one more time. Let's do another 20 seconds. Inhale. Think about that goal you want to achieve and just exhale slowly. Scan your body head to toe. This time, Jim, as you scan your body head to toe, do you notice anything else that's kind of odd, kind of funky, anything peculiar?
Well, it's kind of moving in my throat over to the side of my throat now.
Yeah. Yeah. To the side. So just notice that movement now. We'll do 20 seconds. And again, you're not doing anything here. You're really just chilling. You're just experiencing it fully. Don't judge it. Timer begins now. Yeah, Jim. And what's that movement like?
Oh, it went away.
It went away. Yeah. So what happens now when you think about the goal?
I don't know. Still seems impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an impossibleness about it. How do you experience that impossibleness in your body?
I don't really. I'm not sure I'm feeling it in the body. Feeling a little. I mean, I'm feeling a little itchy and stuff like that. But like, it's a goal that I want, but I don't want.
Yeah.
So
we have an unconscious, conscious conflict. I do this stuff for a living. My God. All right. We have a conflict.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. So let's sit with that piece for a minute. I don't want to grill you here over everything because I don't know what's going to come up here. So if at any point you're like, hey, this is a lot, I don't want to.
Oh, it's nothing personal. I'm not worried about it.
Cool. Yeah. You said something interesting. You said you don't want this goal.
I do and I don't. I think it's impossible, and there's a part of me that does not want to achieve the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why you don't want to achieve it? What the concern is?
I have a lot of stuff I want to do.
Yeah. So it's maybe taking away from other things.
Yeah. So if I could, the goal is to like cut back on what I'm doing. But there's a part of me that doesn't want to do that. So It's kind of something I've wrestled with for quite a long time now.
Right. That's really interesting. So there's this thing you want to do. There's a bunch of things you want to do, but you also want to cut back from doing things. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
How do you experience wanting to cut back from things while wanting to do things?
I start thinking about all the things I want to do.
Yeah. And how do you experience all the things you want to do when you're thinking about them? Doesn't have to be in the body. It could be just something in the mind. How would you describe it?
I'm feeling fidgety.
Fidgety. Yeah.
Like I need to get out of here and go do some stuff.
Cool. So let's see what happens when you just focus on that fidgety. Let's do 20 seconds of focusing on all that fun fidgety stuff. Although it's not fun, I'm sure. All right. Okay, Jim, just notice that fidgety feeling. Just experience it fully. Notice we're not doing any suggestions. We're not doing anything here. We're just letting Jim experience what his body's communicating to him. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, I'll start the timer now. Excellent, Jim. What's it like to experience all that fidgety feeling and not judge it?
It's good.
Yeah. How do you know that's good?
It feels good because it went away.
Went away. Yeah. Do you still not know what you want to do?
Oh, I know what I want to do. I just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you know what you want to do?
Well, no, because I do want to do both.
But you want to do both.
Yeah.
Does the fidgety feeling still come back when you think about doing both now?
No.
Well, that's interesting. So let's go back to that goal one more time. That thing you're thinking about doing, but you might have to pull back and you always want to do more. What happens when you think about that now?
This might not have been the best thing to work on. It seems a little challenging for me.
Yeah. Right. How is it challenging? Just a bit complex or unclear?
I just seems impossible. There's no good solution.
Yeah.
I think what I prefer just more balance. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Instead of, I mean, that's kind of where I like to be more balanced,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more downtime.
So this is interesting. So we've had you just kind of go through and experience sensations, emotions, and thoughts. And on the front end, there was a goal, unnamed, felt impossible, still feels impossible. But a lot of the unpleasant sensations around that kind of went away. It's interesting. I always think it's kind of interesting the way the body can do that. It can discharge those negative emotions just by us paying attention to it. Giving it the space it needs, kind of like, I don't want to say like respect, but it kind of feels like we're just sort of respecting our feelings a little bit more. So I don't know if you're anything like me, Jim. If I feel discomfort, I flee. Like, no, thank you. Focus on the work, right? Focus on the next target, the next goal. A lot of times I find that I can be a little bit more productive if I actually just feel those things for a little bit. So if you want to, Jim, we can do just a little bit with the impossibility and see what happens. Who knows?
Sure.
So I know you're talking about sort of a balance piece here.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go to balance, let's do the impossibility. What's it like for you? You said you were thinking a lot of things all at once. Yeah. Let's use that.
Okay.
You're thinking about all these different things at once. And where do you notice that? How do you experience that? Focusing and thinking about all those different things at once.
I got some slight discomfort in the low back. I don't know if it's related or not.
So let's focus on that sensation in your lower back. And now this is going to be really interesting. Here's where I want you to give it a bit of an assertive command. And it doesn't matter if it responds or not, Jim. You could say less or more. In this case, let's just say less because we'll make it subside. And we'll see if it works, right? We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll stay the same. Maybe it will increase. Doesn't matter. It's really just about connecting with your mind anyway. So let's do 26. So just simplest term for yourself, less, whatever you want to say, a simple command to that part of your body, and just experience it. Notice what happens. We'll just do 20 seconds of that. Okay. Beginning now. Okay, Jim. So as you repeated that to it, anything move, change? Did you become more aware of it? Did it increase?
I'd say it decreased a bit.
Yeah. How did you notice that it decreased a bit?
I stopped thinking about it.
Interesting. The sensation in the back or the thoughts?
I think both. I was kind of pulled in other directions, I think.
Yeah. What an interesting thing. How's your lower back feel now when you think about all this?
Oh, I think it feels okay.
What about the impossibility?
Yeah, because I don't really want it.
Yeah. So what's it like for you just to say, I don't want it? I don't really want it.
Ooh, wow. Maybe liberating. think I have a fantasy of like more leisure activities, but I think I tend to get bored with those. So yeah, so I think maybe that's just it could be an older version of me, or maybe it's a future version of me that would like. I would like to. I would say I still want to be doing a lot of stuff, maybe just not quite as much. I don't know. It's kind of a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I really like everything I'm doing, so it makes it more challenging. I think I had this fantasy of going and like sitting on a beach and just chilling, but I freaking hate that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a fast. So just real quick, Shawn, Brian, remember when Jim mentioned being pulled in different directions?
Mm-hmm.
When he said less to that, and then the insight of I don't really want it. And when I think about not wanting, it's liberating. I don't want to sit on a beach. People tell me I'm supposed to sit on a beach. I don't want to sit on a beach. I don't know what this is. Leisure. I feel like this is bad because I'm kind of wired the same way Jim is with this stuff. So it's like vacation. You mean what are you talking about? Like,
so
more lead gen? Like I don't know.
What I picked up from that, and Jim, tell me if I'm wrong, is you become so accustomed to work, grind. If you're not working, you're not producing. That means you're not eating. But you want that freedom to go, you know what? If I do absolutely nothing today, like nobody's going to die. My income is not, if I want to get up and go for a walk, go for a hike, go wherever, go sit and have a coffee somewhere.
Yeah.
And whatnot, that you have the ability to do. You want to be in control of your time, whether it's doing something that's super, super fun, going, you know what? I just want to go on stage and have a good time and be able to go, I've got the bankroll and the financial means to go, you know what? This isn't falling into place. So if there's a client that's going to be difficult, I can say, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out. Let me refer you to somebody else, where you can then command, if you want me to do a show, I need this equipment, and you, instead of having to get there, find out that stuff is all messed up, nobody paid attention to your rider whatsoever, and then you can kind of, I guess, be in command of your time and your life more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I do have that freedom, like right now, a lot of times, and I do sometimes. I just take off and go do something, but I feel a lot of guilt when I do it. And yeah, Brian, I think that would be like if I had more, and I say more, but I don't know what that number is. The more financial resources to be able to comfortably do that, I think that would be the solution.
I mean, like a lot of people look at, and this is kind of coming from my family law background as a paralegal. I'm not an attorney, where a lot of the times the main causes of divorce were a lack of, some type of financial security, physical security, or emotional security. And when the finances weren't there, that was a catalyst of resentment, because someone's like, I don't have the lifestyle that I want to live. Or, I'm a single guy and I married a woman with children. So now I've got stepchildren that my money now has to support them and go to their activities. And, I get women who are like, oh, my children will always come first. And you're sitting there going, God, I'm the second wheel. Whereas if you're like, hey, I've got money that's investments, that's making money while I sleep. There's a secondary source of income through, rental property or real estate or something like that, where it's like, my basic needs are always going to be financially taken care of. And I have to just worry about what's my fun money. I just have to be focused on, if I make enough discretionary income, kind of like, Kevin Lapine was talking about, where he goes, you know what, I'm going to be traveling somewhere and I can call up a local venue when he goes back home to Michigan and says, hey, can I get some time in a room to make $1,000? You know what, that pays for my trip to go visit family.
Yeah.
That's awesome stuff. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Brian, Jim, are you comfortable to do one or two more of these just inward things real quick? Okay.
Sure.
'Cause there's something that I was just curious about. You mentioned feeling a sense of liberation.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a kind of a different way, because Brian had a really good series of points, and let's just see what happens. I don't know. I never know how any of this stuff's going to go. Jim, so you mentioned that sense of liberation. What happens when you think about that feeling of liberation you experienced a little bit ago?
Yeah, I get a big smile.
Big smile. Yeah. And so what's the most liberating thing you can do with all this?
Well, I think continuing. I think this is the thing, is cutting back on the things I don't really want to do or don't need to do, and still do more of the things that I love to do that I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's the balance.
Yeah.
So like trying to run sound effects on the show and stuff like that.
Right about that tech issue. I was like, hey, why am I not in? Yeah. Yeah, focusing on the things you want to do, being able to create more time for that. Do any emotions come up for you when you say that? About doing the things you want to do, making more time to do the things you want to do versus having to do all the things you don't want to do?
Yeah, the feeling of happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Where do you notice this liberating, happy feeling in your body?
All over.
Cool. Let's play with that. That sounds fun.
No, let's not. Bad choice of words. I'm like, no, don't. And then you were like, let's play with this. And I was like, oh,
I'm just going to turn
falling off the show right now.
I'm just going to turn my camera off.
Remember, family friendly.
Oh dear. Okay.
Here's the thing. Brian, I don't want to have to click the box on YouTube that says, is this appropriate for children or not?
Right. Yeah. So here's
my giggling and 12-year-old sense of humor is not implied.
It is child appropriate, I guess.
That's funny. So here's what we'll do. It's really simple. You notice nothing I'm doing here is like clever. There's not a lot of steps. It's like, what do you notice? What do you feel? Just experience it. Don't judge it. That's the routine. That's the joke here, right? But the power is in the client, right? And I had no idea any of this stuff was. I don't even know what Jim's. I mean, he kind of shared a little bit as we went along here, but his mind knows how to sort this thing out. I just need to get the heck out of the way, right? See, look at me censoring myself. That's so good. Let's do that. Okay. So Jim, just kind of take a deep breath in, exhale slowly, and focus on that happy, liberating feeling. And as you get in touch with that, ask yourself what it has to teach you about all this. That's all it is. Really simple. And then take your time. And you can do that however you want to. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to do anything, Jim.
I think the other insight there is that I need to focus more on the things like that will bring in more money, like what Brian's talking about.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now? In your mind, you feel
Solid.
Pretty conscious. Good. Yeah.
It's like I could fly, like Superman, like a superhero.
Well, let's so last thing, just that feeling of liberation and happiness you're feeling throughout your body. Just connect to that for a moment. And again, this time just say more.
More.
More. Yeah. Just feel it and just think more. More. And just see what happens as you do that. 10, 15 times, just repeat that to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything else come up for you? This is basically enough. This just kind of want to demo this thing,
Yeah.
but
Baby Shark came up.
Baby Shark.
All right, I'm done. That's
Family friendly, Brian. Family friendly.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Well, Jim,
dun,
thanks
dun.
for hanging out and doing that. Sometimes it can be a little weird because when I do this type of work, I definitely feel things a lot, right? A lot of feelings can come up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Putting my attention on them. So I appreciate you doing that. I know it's not always like, I don't know, that vulnerability is social media here. I mean, I'm getting calls from Bezos and Elon left and right over here.
Yeah. Thank you
they're
for
watching
taking
the show.
Thank you for blocking them for right now.
Yeah.
Thank you for time.
I texted Taylor Swift. I said, double it if you want me to be in the thing. I'm not going to.
Double it.
Okay.
Who knew that Taylor Swift was putting out that kind of video?
Oh no. So the
I didn't know she was a Kardashian.
Brian's got a one-track mind.
Like, actually, Jim, I was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna at risk of kind of hijacking something for a second.
Uh-oh.
I was picking up on stuff that you weren't saying. That I was sensing a little bit of resentment for kind of some stuff that you feel obligated to do and sort of compelled out of like a sense of loyalty, again, obligation. It's the right thing to do, even though your heart may not 100% be in it. And that's causing a little bit of inner discontent or some distension within the inner ranks. And I'm not talking about those ranks.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some truth to that. Sure.
Yeah. Brian, so one of the things I like that you did there, I always say I'm listening to everything a client's not saying. I think Milton Erickson, I feel like I just steal everything that guy says anyway. But there was something he said like about, listening with your eyes and listening to everything that's not said. But like in this environment, if we were in a private setting and someone wanted to explore it, I might bring that up. If it was more of a one-on-one.
Don't you dare say probe a little deeper.
But here it's like, I think what's cool about experiencing this is when you're working with a client, sometimes they're already so confused about things. And very quickly, we can just use the feelings, thoughts, emotions, the images that are already inside their head. We could just utilize those just by letting them really experience them. And then this wave of insights comes. And it actually keeps happening for like days afterward a lot of times. And my job's pretty easy. I just, what's this like? What's that? But doing this with myself has been really huge because it helps me get clear about what I want a little bit faster, and it helps me regulate. I'm in a bad mood really quickly because I can kind of get to what's behind it a little faster. So that's kind of what I'm using this for. It kind of teaches you the exploration and discovery piece of organic hypnosis. So doing it with yourself is really cool.
Excuse me. So, Vinnie, so you said like you're in a bad mood, you're angry or something. You would just sit for that 20 seconds and just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing. And I just picked 20 seconds because I didn't want to I want to be conscientious of the time here. Like there's a lot of dead air for a recording, but there's all the other cool tricks. Who's the gentleman, the thought field therapy guy? There's ways to shut off anger that are really fast, like not making a fist, relaxing your jaw. But for me, I want to get at what's behind it. I don't always want to shut it off. So if I do have time to handle it, that's good. But I'm just like everybody else. I have bad days and, oh man, I dropped the thing and it's broke and cool. Like, aren't I incredible? But yeah, I definitely want to sit with it and experience it as much as I can. I want to honor that feeling, and it just helps me stay a little bit more calm and integrated, I think. Entrepreneurship's it's very challenging. There's a lot of stuff we're dealing with all the time. So there's constant uncertainty. It's like, you're just acting in faith in the most peculiar way, right? All the time. It's kind of neat like that. So it's like hoping it works,
Well, a couple of things that I noticed, like as soon as Jim, he would say something, he'd be like, well, I want something, but I also don't. And just on the surface, anybody who just kind of does a cursory listen of that, just goes, all right, Jim, you're acting like a woman. Like that you're I want two polar opposite things, and I don't want them at the same time. Mix in a little cat.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to start a new show for Brian called Late Nights with Brian.
But then as soon as it was like, hey, we're starting to like key in on a couple of different things. I'm watching the expressions on your face and just like your eyes and just kind of how you lit up a little bit more, where it's like someone's listening to me. And then when I said, hey, it sounds like you're feeling a little bit of resentment towards things, you were kind of like, God, like I really am. And it's like, okay, now you got someone who's listening to you. They've acknowledged your feelings. So now you kind of feel heard. And then you're like, all right, cool. Like maybe there is somebody who understands me, because somebody who's going through this entrepreneurship that doesn't have your typical 9-to-5 job is going to go, God, how can I get anybody to relate to me? Because all the people who are in the daily grind, who just trade time for money, are, under the auspices of a purpose in life. They're like, well, why don't you just go do this? And you're like, if I wanted to do that, I would, but I want to be something more. I want to be bigger. And, so that it just kind of felt like there was more of something click where you got that affirmation and an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, I can see just like the stress. You don't look like you're being weighed down as much. Oh. And Vinnie, I don't know if you noticed that as well or not.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's so much to unpack there. That's good. Those are good observations, Brian. Jim, I'd like to, Brian, that's such good stuff. Such good stuff there. Jim, let's get some feedback from Jim. What was that experience like for you?
Well, so I'll be honest. I was really hoping somebody else would do it, because I hate doing these, because I'm afraid I'm doing something wrong. And I'm like, I want Vinnie to be successful, but what if I blow it for him? So, and so there was a lot of pressure, but there was still kind of a lot of pressure, because I'm like, oh, is this what I'm supposed to feel? Is this the way it's supposed to go?
Yeah.
And
we're talking about your hypnosis, not your first.
Shawn, you
you just keep stepping in it, Jim.
I think we have to cut Brian off now, folks.
Only to you, Brian. Only to you. You're the only one that, and maybe Becca. Maybe Becca thinks that, but the only. So these are things that kind of. Sorry, phone's ringing.
Bezos again. See?
Bezos again. Yeah, exactly. We were supposed to be on that group entrepreneur call. So, so here's something that got me thinking, like a networking group just for entrepreneurs. If you're a 9-to-5er, you can't be in the group. I've never been in one of those kind of groups. That sounds really interesting. Because Brian gave me that idea. Anyway, there probably are those kind of groups, but I was like, wow, that would be interesting. So it was, it's kind of stuff that I knew already, but maybe kind of getting a different angle on it. I'm always kind of in a place where I don't want to, I really want to be at the top and just sort of saying, okay, this is what we're doing. Have a team that goes and does it. I want to be Bezos, right? I want to be Musk. Here's the idea. You go implement it. And so I do think that I love doing what I do. It's just the little things I don't like doing. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's huge. That big picture stuff's great. Yeah. It's tough. There's a lot to execute.
And unfortunately, when you're an entrepreneur, until you get to a certain level, you still have to do all those things.
Right.
Unless you can coerce your friends into volunteering to help, and then they,
Right. It's good. I love it. So here's the thing. I love all that stuff you said. And I probably should have gave some more reference frames on the front end of this before diving in, but sometimes I like to just see what happens. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that pressure you feel to, am I doing it right? I felt that so much when I first started seeing clients. It's like, am I doing it right? And I know now all of you have already, you're not there, right? You've got the routine, you know what you're doing, etc. But that would show up for me at times in sessions where it was like, I'm afraid the person might say this. I don't think I have an answer for that. So maybe like the things we talked about before, I want to quit smoking, but I have cravings. Okay, we'll quit with the cravings. Right? So, or what happens when you think about quitting with the cravings, that kind of a thing. So it's actually all the stuff I want to kind of sort out and identify with myself or with the client is those things we're scared to acknowledge and we're actually feeling a pressure to get it right. When getting it honest is the thing that I always say, like, the truth is the path to freedom. That's why it's my logo is that path, right? The idea is that we can just walk that path, and we don't have to know whether or not we're ever going to get there. We're just pursuing the truth, right? We're pursuing it with ourselves and these little mini sessions, pursuing it with clients. And so for me, I think the biggest thing that's helped improve success has been the willingness to pursue that, regardless of how scary it is sometimes. Because boy, is it scary. Really looking at this stuff is not. That's not a Sunday picnic. That's there's just stuff underneath the surface we got to look at. So I think the reason this helps hypnotists a lot is because as they look at their own stuff and they really start to acknowledge what they feel, I think it just creates a space for that client where they feel a little bit more encouraged to do so, or it feels safer or more familiar, because we're just kind of used to sitting in it. So this is just something like kind of on the back end that it's been really helpful for me. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm never sure my explanations are.
Well, the what I notice is a lot of people who are, have their careers, obviously, doctors, nurses, folks like those, we need all of those people, your first responders, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And someone needs to, bag groceries, and everybody has their place in the world, but we all kind of build our way up to where we eventually want to be. And, not to discourage people from going out and getting a traditional career, but there's a certain security that comes with that, where they're like, hey, I know I have to be up at this time.
Yeah, for sure.
I have my morning routine, and a lot of humans are just routine based. And so like, as long as I get up and I do these steps and I get to come home at the end of the day, I get to crawl in my nice warm bed, and life's good. And they're not out there to go take risks.
Yeah. And
they get stuck. And so when you find people who are smoking, that smoking is part of their routine.
That's a good point.
And then you're sitting there going, hey, break that routine and do something else.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh my God, the fear of the unknown. And the special operations community uses that as the number one stressor in their selection stuff. They just go, look, you're going to whiteboard or chalkboard that says formation is at this time. Here's how much your backpack needs to weigh. You need this much water. Here's the uniform. Okay. And then, hey, we're going to do a timed ruck march. This heading on a compass, go down this road until you get your next direction. It's time to do your best. Good luck. You don't have to yell and scream at anybody. You just have to know you're trying out for an elite organization, and you're being watched, and you don't know the standard. Just do your best. And you hear like Navy SEALs talk about their BUDS class, that they're the selection that's 6 months long. They're like, if you look at it as 6 months long, you're going to be done before we even started. Rob O'Neill says, get up and your first victory is brush your teeth, make your bed, get the formation on time. You got 3 victories. Then you just need to worry about surviving and living until breakfast, then lunch, then dinner, and quit tomorrow. If you can do that and just repeat that enough, you'll make it.
Yeah. That's awesome, Brian. Yeah, I think it kind of brings up a principle. It's how can a client learn about a problem? How can they study a problem they don't even really understand they have yet? If it's underneath the surface, if it's something in the unconscious, they don't really have access to it. So this idea of like, just show up and take action, that it makes sense why you could hear Brian's like, well, I'm going to give you the kick in the butt then. I'm going to help you in that way. And I think there is something about, you talked about the the stressor and the routine and breaking that. I think that's a really powerful thing to consider with people.
Because I had a friend who went through selection, and he said that there was a drill sergeant that was there in between cycles, and it was like a 3-week process. And he says this guy, like, I don't know, day 6, he goes, he just couldn't handle it anymore. He broke, because when you're a drill sergeant, everything is structured, like, you know, your schedule for every little bit, like down to the 15 minutes from when you're smoking Joe's, just, hey, we're finding something that you guys screwed up just so we can PT the hell out of you. And he goes, you have everything, you live and die and breathe by that schedule, and taking that little comfort safety blanket out from under him, he just could not deal with it.
Yeah. That. Wow. Wowee. Incredible.
And I've asked people about skydiving, because it's fun for me. That's one of the things I do to de-stress. And they go, oh my God, it's so scary, you want to die. I'm like, well, the air is not going to hurt you.
Wow.
It's that sudden stop at the end, but several things have to go sideways in order for that to happen. If you're doing a tandem jump, you got an instructor who's literally putting his money where his mouth is, and he's got that same self-interest. But people are so wrapped up about, oh my God, I'm going to die. But don't worry about, you're doing a sunset jump. And there's the beauty of the sunlight and just some of the most amazing scenery and the freedom of the feeling of, like, when you're, doing that suicide attempt until a parachute canopy opens up successfully, you're not worried about your bills or who left the towel on the floor or anything like that. And it's life-changing.
Cool. Hey, sorry, we need to move on. We can come back and explore a little bit this more, but I do want to respect the listeners' time, the watchers' time. Yeah. We want to make sure if they've stuck around this long, they get their opportunity to win on a brand new
hey, we've actually got a really good question here, Jim. That
from the crap store. I'm going to go, Brian.
Okay.
I'm going to go through all of those. I'm going to go through all of those in just a moment. So here's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to do the drawing right now. So everybody who wants to get out of here can do that. And then I'm going to fly through all the questions there. I know we got some questions from Janaea and those guys. And then we'll take any follow-up questions y'all have, and then we'll wrap it up. Thanks for keeping us on track, Brian. Here we go. So this is a brand new thing. Again, we're not responsible for errors. You got to, if you win, you got to tell me in like a day or something that your address and stuff. So get ready. Here comes the raffle drawing to win one of those. Oh, here's the thing. If you actually like pineapple pizza and you are part of CRAP, Citizens Resisting the Advancement of Pineapple Pizza, you can defer your prize because there'll be a new one coming out soon in supporting us and our wishes. All right, get ready to go. Here we go.
Whoa.
Oh, someone's getting some postage bills for that.
Damn it! I was hoping she would win.
all the way to the UK.
Maybe she stopped listening. Don't tell her, Brian. Don't tell her. Just kidding, Becca. Just message me your address, and I will get that sent, and a size, of course, and I will get that to you. Thanks for playing,
like
everybody.
Kid sizes, Jim. She's gonna need one of those.
she's a wee little thing, isn't she? Great. Yeah. So, are you talking about the Janaea's question about the doctors? That's one you were talking about.
No, there was Paulette.
Let me get that one first.
Yeah, get
that was way back there. We didn't get it earlier. Sorry, everybody who's watching. If you didn't win, hold on. So, okay, how do doctors typically view hypnotherapy? Do they ever refer patients to hypnosis as an option to stop smoking and weight loss? So it just depends on the doctor. Some are for it, some are against it. Most of them would actually give you like a referral for that. You find a hypnotist and you say, "I'd like you to give me a referral for this." Some insurance companies might reimburse you, but probably not. Most of them won't. There are some exceptions. There are some codes that hypnotists can use if you're in certain states. And you might be able to use your what is that? The health spending account. Health spending
Yeah.
account.
Oh, the HSAs.
Is that in alignment with what everybody else knows?
Yeah,
Okay.
the HSAs, pre-tax dollars.
Yeah, HSA, yep. And Becca wants to know how many sessions on average. There we go, to stop smoking. I really like that. You know, I got to say again, I really like that, Vinny, because I get calls from people that have taken one of these workshops where you learn that you can, everybody's going to quit in one session, and then they go, well, what if they don't? Because everyone's different, and so the person ends up thinking it didn't work. The client thinks it didn't work. Way too much pressure. I love what you said. You know, don't say it ahead of time. They'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Amazing Cindini. We love Amazing Cindini. She wants to know, do you do group sessions or just one-on-one?
Yeah. I've only ever done one-on-one for pay, but I've worked over TikTok live, just spontaneous. There's actually recordings up of me, and literally I've helped people quit. And I'm reading text on the screen. I can't even see them, but I'm just reading back what's going on underneath the surface to them, asking questions, and it's just trippy, you know? So I haven't ever done like a group though. I think that they're cool though. People that can do that, or people that do that consistently. That seems like a nice scalable way to run a stop smoking operation for sure.
I think Joshua Wagner does a lot of group stuff. Oh, yeah. I think Dan does too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Got to talk to those guys. Yeah. And what's your handle, TikTok, Vinny?
Oh, so my smoking cessation one is Stop Smoking Specialist. You know, what people are going to type into Google. I'm always thinking that way. And then my hypnosis training one is Become a Hypnotist. So,
wow, those are great handles.
Not the most clever. Name it
That's
what it is.
You want what people are looking for, though. Let's take one session. Let's see. Sorry, but I'm just firing through these real quick. Let's pineapple pizza. Go away, Becca. We don't like you anymore. Know that I found out you like pineapple pizza. Wait. I think we should hypnotize everyone who loves pineapple pizza and hypnotize them because they're completely wrong liking it. God bless you, Becca. If you'd like, we will hold on. We'll get you a real T-shirt. Let's see.
You want to put the questions up on the screen, Jim?
Yeah, I'm going to. Just a second. That was really more of a comment. I find that the tough love approach, this is from Janaea, only works if you've been through the scenario your client or the person has been through. Makes it easier. I can go, I used to be a smoker. I know how painful it is to quit. Otherwise, you sound judgmental, lacking compassion and understanding. Interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the possibility of that.
Becca, I like the idea of tough love, but I guess it also depends on person to person, and I guess dealing with addiction is more difficult. Cindini, she went to a hypnotist with her mom 25 years ago. She quit. I did not, but I was not ready to quit and smoked on my way home. Yeah. Let's see.
I would definitely be curious on that kind of that dynamic and everything. If Cindy was just sort of like, all right, Mom, I will go just so you'll stop hounding me about it.
Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness.
So go ahead.
I don't want to share too many. I don't want to keep us on too late. I had an antidote, but I think it might be a little too long-winded. Maybe we'll get to the questions if we have time at the end, I can share about that.
Unfortunately, Carol, it wasn't just about smoking. It was anything you wanted. So sorry you missed out on that. But, if you just went back through and just kind of just followed along, I think you'd have some good results. Scott King's trying to pull a Bob Martin on me probably. Actually, I think Bob and Vin are doing the same kind of stuff. I saw Brian trying to pull that on me too. I do not like pineapple pizza.
By the way, Scott, I'm borrowing that.
Not liking pineapple pizza.
Scott. So Becca says, yeah, he is probably thinking of that pineapple pizza. That's what makes him panic.
Oh no.
Oh yes, here's a good one, Scott. Because at Hypno Thoughts, I remember bringing this with Bob. Is an itch ever just an itch with you guys that are doing that that word wizardry stuff, the conversational hypnosis. Let's see, Janae, it's a goal I want that I don't want. That hits hard. Yeah, good. Thank you. James Duke says respect. Not sure where that was, but I'll take it for the whole show. How's that? Carol being very supportive. Love that. Amanda's shouting out pineapple pizza like something's wrong with her. Becca says you're pretty good at analyzing people, Brian. Carol says, Brian, stop. I don't know what that was.
That was that was where you had the slip of a tongue.
Paulette, question. Have any of you assisted those with heavy drug addiction like meth, cocaine, pills, success rate, or is that addiction I think she's saying integrated or ingratiated. How about you, Vinnie?
Yeah, I've helped people with harder substances for sure. Same methodology. But there's other concerns, right? Like some of those harder substances, they might actually need stronger intervention, or they might need medical supervision or things like that. So that's just something to be mindful of. A lot of people with some pretty wild stuff. So,
point.
Yeah.
Also, if you help people with alcohol, make sure that they, there's a DTs, so they do need to be medically supervised. If they quit cold turkey, it could be a problem. Rare in my experience, but it can happen. Paulette says, accountability and responsibility is not tough love. Ooh, it's what all of us are supposed to be doing. Excuses never bring progress. Those are perspective. Mm-hmm. And Janaea says, I volunteer as tribute to be hypnotized, not to like pineapple pizza. Well, God bless you, Janaea. You schedule a session, I'll be happy to give you a free one for that. Maybe I'll do a group session. Let's do a group session to get over your disgusting habit. All right. So if you have more questions, please drop them down below. Please share the show and all that kind of stuff. Vinnie, you want to share that anecdote?
Yeah. So I actually spoke to somebody that saw a hypnotist in a group session, and she went with her husband at the time. They wound up splitting up. And my goodness, Jim, just to show you how wild this stuff gets. I know we've all had these experiences, but I really like this one because I'm not like trying to force people to have regressions or hallucinate or any particular thing. I'm just responding to unconscious communication. And so she kept smoking. Her husband quit, and she was actually resentful about going. She didn't want to go, and it was hard for her to smoke after the group session, but she was determined to make herself keep smoking. Right. And so she did it. She succeeded. And years go by, I'm talking to this lady, brilliant woman, actually, really, really smart, consultant for a very A-level industry. And during the session, she hallucinated carving resentment towards her ex-husband out of her stomach with a beautiful knife. She used the phrase, a beautiful knife. And I sat there like, oh, I thought I was doing a stop smoking session. Because that's where these things go, though. Once we start tackling what's going on underneath, you never know what's going to come up. This was very powerful for her. And it was triggered when I asked, what would it be like when your daughter goes down to Florida and she gets to tell your ex-husband you're a non-smoker? And then she just went on this thing and came back, and that's what she experienced doing. I thought, this is incredible. I could script a thing like that. I don't have a script for carving resentment out of your like that's but their mind can do it. It's really cool. I'm always kind of fascinated by that.
Definitely.
So fun. Got way too many of those weird stories. So,
you have a training coming up, Vinnie. Do you have any trainings coming up?
I'm scheduling one for about 8 weeks out. I have to pick a date. I'm doing it a little bit different. I'm going to do Saturdays, and we're just going to do a demo and then Q&A, demo, Q&A, and then we're going to hit business stuff. So we used to do 3 days back to back. It's just so hard for folks right now. A lot of them are kind of in that in between state, like they're working a job and they're building a company. So I said, let's just do it every Saturday at noon for 4 hours or roughly, however long people need to get through the demos. It's more about, I just want them actually doing this work. And then I coach them through it versus me demoing the technique and all that. It's really cool. So I need to hammer out a date. I'll post it in the comments if you want. People can take a look at it.
Yep. Post it. Sandini, her experience with not smoking, quitting smoking that time, and inspired her to learn hypnosis because it worked for her, and she thought it was fascinating. This is one of the things too that I find frustrating sometimes when you have a husband and wife, or like a best friend or something like that. They'll be like, "Well, I'm gonna see how it works for them first." And I was like, "That you're different people. Not everyone responds the same, and so a lot of people miss out. And it's good, Cindy, that you got to see that it worked for them. But if it didn't, then Cindy probably would have thought, well, hypnosis just doesn't work, so I'm never going to try it. And so, yeah, it's a really dangerous thing, guys. I mean, just because it doesn't work for one person doesn't mean it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
Especially, and also it can depend on the hypnotist.
Oh yeah.
So,
I think Brian made a point earlier about, or maybe it was you, Jim, about the lower cost person versus and a lot of times it's not a knock on folks. I started, it was $50 a session. I would have paid people to let me help them. That's how desperate I was to get actual experience. Like, please let me help you. Because that's where all the real learning is. But and then I have it where people say, well, the last person I saw was $170. We did 3 sessions. And I'm like, well, but like you went back to smoking, and like, we'll go back to that person. That's fine. And then they go, well, they're out of business. I go, yeah, I know. That's a small margin to run it. There's a lot of cost and overhead. You got to, when you're running a company. So it's good to be mindful of the economics. I always just want to point that out because it's not, I don't think my prices are too high. I think they're adequately high, right? I think it's the right cost for me to be able to operate at the level I need to. So that's kind of a tough thing. I just want to bring that up because I run into this a lot. Folks are having trouble.
Well, it's also when people are willing to, like that one lady who, she saved up for months.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, she's committed to this.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, it's a couple $100. All right, someone's going to just peel that up out of their pocket money and go, all right, cool. And they're the ones who are going to be like, yeah, this doesn't work. And it's like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's a real thing. I think that that commitment piece financially does help folks a ton.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Brian.
I try to tell people I remember I went to something unemployment, like after I got out of the military, and the guy was telling a story where when he applied to a job, it was back when they had like the bitmap and 30 years ago. And he basically was able to change the rotation of the text and everything. And it's put a triangle. He says, there's no free lunch in business. You get what you pay for. And I'm cheaper at twice the price.
It's funny.
Well, here's the thing too, and what people need to remember, you're not paying for my time, you're paying for the result.
Yeah.
And when you are paying for my time, it can seem like, wow, that's a lot of money. You $250, $300, $500, $1,000 for a couple of hours. But like we're talking about, there's a lot more that goes into this. We're spending time marketing. Vinny's doing this podcast. I'm sure he had a great time, but ultimately this is marketing. This is time you're spending marketing,
For sure.
Or look at an attorney. Someone argues about a couple $100 an hour and you go, well, you can go spend 6 years of your life in college and go to law school and pay what it costs for insurance and keeping the lights on and all the, hiring staff. Sure. Go ahead. Let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's such a good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead. Finish.
Oh, I forgot. It was something about what you said about costs and something. It'll come back, I'm sure.
You're paying for my knowledge, skills, and experience.
Oh yeah, I spent more money learning this stuff than I did going to college, for sure. Like I've taken like everybody's trainings. I love this stuff. I still take trainings, and I teach people. Because I want to absorb. I don't have all the answers, right? Yeah. There's things I learned from all of you even today, just having this chat. So it is the marketing, but I'm still using time to accumulate more information, to learn more, right? Get different varied opinions. There's a lot that goes into that price figure that isn't necessarily evident on the front end, I would say. Yeah. I think I was going to say that, Jim.
Cool. All right. We should wrap it up, Brian.
Yeah.
So Guys, we're going to take off. I'm guessing you don't make recordings of your sessions.
I don't know.
I do. So this is something that I picked up recently. It's a headband. Boom. If you have any of my recordings out there, whether you're a client or you have, you go to my shop and buy them, they're awesome because the little buds do not stick in your ears. They float outside, so it's a lot more comfortable. There's a link down there. Get those. Clients all the time, they can't go to sleep with them on, or if you just like meditations, or I know Scott King actually has some recordings. One of his recordings on YouTube was really good. It was rain on a tin roof or something like that. Very nice. So grab the headband. All right. Do you have something quick, Brian?
No, I'm working with Scott. I'll hopefully in the next couple months I'll be able to announce some exciting news, and
Ooh, yes.
I'm just going to kind of leave it at that.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I could understand why Vinnie would not record his conversations or his sessions, because it's not like when Jim, you and I work together where you're like, hey Brian, and you're giving me suggestion, even though I had dozed off on the phone. Vinnie sounds a little bit more interactive and one-on-one. So the client is kind of like, okay, well, I've already reflected on certain things, and it's kind of like just re-listening to a phone call.
Yeah, exactly. It's over. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
So that makes sense. But I mean, it's very, very interesting how interactive in your approach to things are.
Yeah. It's so fun. Yeah. Also, like if you're just seeing smokers all the time, I made the joke about, I thought this was a stop smoking session. They're all kind of wild. And it's neat to see the way the unconscious mind works like this. You know, you get to explore all this interesting stuff that comes up. I wonder where that comes. You start to notice certain just nuances about it. It'll always surprise you. We're never going to figure that thing out completely. But I think that's cool though, Jim. That's a cool product. So it's like a headband and you can record and stuff. That's a brilliant. Or they can.
Yeah, you just listen to recordings. It's just play. Just play neat. And stop. Yeah. Bluetooth. It is. It's one of those things that I take with me also when I'm traveling, so that if there's people are loud in the next hotel room or something like that, it comes in handy a lot. I will tell you, it's not great for airplanes. They're not loud enough for airplanes. You got to buy the big ones like Brian's got there for the airplanes if you want to block out the kids for sure.
Shawn, you just go into trance, Jim. You just go like imagine, or with the kids, you just get a bigger hammer and just.
All outside sounds and distractions.
Hammers aren't allowed on planes anymore, Brian.
Damn it. I think Shawn's got some products coming up too, so we'll be looking forward to those from the other heroes.
Speaking of airplanes, when I went through the TSA, flying home from Vegas, I had to check gun number 1 and gun number 2.
No weapons allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Hey, everybody! Thanks so much for watching. Love the show because we get to experience the way that different hypnotists work, and so do you as our audience. With that, thank you, Vinnie. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Brian.
Awesome.